Hello, everyone. This is Kirk Bankstead with the Minocqua Brewing Company, and I am super excited today. Usually I'm talking to activists or I'm talking to folks who are on the ground fighting ice or something like that. But I've got Stephen Hofstetter here today, which is just a real huge fun half hour or so for us. Steve, thanks for joining us today, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Kirk. It's my pleasure too. I will forgive you for adding the N to my name. It's Steve, but
Sorry, Steve. All
no,
right,
no,
all
no.
right.
It happens a lot. No, this is something. The way I want to let the viewers know immediately, like the way that we met was just such a fun. It's a positive thing of the internet. I mean, I had heard of what you guys are doing for quite some time, and always appreciated it, especially because um I'm a road comic. I'm out there all the time. And very often, I'm stopping at like local places to get some coffee or some food. And I have to just be like, oh, can I, can I eat here without feeling hatred surrounding me? Is it possible to eat here without, with knowing that my coffee didn't just fund terrorism? So, I always liked what you guys were doing, and I saw a post that you wrote that came across my Facebook that was just beautiful. It was just this great post about fighting back and, not giving a shit what that does to your quote unquote brand.
Yeah.
And, the idea that like our brand should be someone who fights back. And I love that because I believe that as well. And I reached out and I was like, hey, if you ever want to do anything together, let me know. And that's something that often goes unanswered. People can do that all the time, but you got right back to me and we've been talking ever since. And when you asked me if I wanted to do a live stream, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And I heard about you because I mean, you're, I think part of your fame is that you really get the hecklers back when they start heckling you at your show. And, and I mean, that's been my marketing plan since day one. Like, I just bomb these guys because we just get fake review. I've gotten more 1-star reviews than probably any business, that exists, that still exists because I embrace them. I eat them for lunch, and so, but I usually take a little twist on the thing. And if you're gonna give me a 1-star review, you're gonna pay in flesh.
Yeah. Your business gets a 1-star review. That person gets a 1-star review.
Totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I ask you to join me today because uh you're fighting a good fight in your own way, and I'm fighting the fight when Trump was elected last year. Uh, I I picked up all this literature about resistance movements, and one of the things that really stuck with me, and a retired Army colonel who's been working with me to like trying to do GoFundmes and help folks out in Minneapolis. He gave me this thing by Erica Chenoweth. She was a Harvard Kennedy School professor, and she kind of it was an essay called, you know, trying, resisting authoritarianism in the United States or something like that. So one of the things that she said, which resonated with me because I was already doing it, was that we have to build economic collectives in the resistance movement. We have to build collectives of businesses that are working together to keep money out of the hands of fascism or the
Yeah.
people who support fascism. And that resonated with me because I'm so liberal in such a red area of Wisconsin that I already had to branch out and stop and sell merch, and sell coffee and sell soda because I've been boycotted by beer distributors because I'm so
Yeah.
damn liberal. So I was already kind of branching out and finding my people. And then I read this thing said that we needed economic cooperatives to keep the money out of our oppressors' hands. And I was like, holy cow, uh, this let's just keep doing what we're doing and kind of grow a group of small businesses to try to create an e-commerce site that is can be a substitute for anything you might buy on Amazon. And so we did that. I spent the last year doing that, and we got about 90 businesses now, and they make tons of stuff. They're all really small. They're smaller than me, and I'm not that big. But we've got this community, and I'm trying to grow it. And I went to, and you're a Columbia guy. I'm a Harvard guy. You've got friends who I'm sure are bankers and venture capitalists, in your world. And I have
Gross.
right? I have them in mind, and they all like took a look at me and they're like, Kirk, like my venture capital companies are gonna laugh at me if if I go back to them and say, well, we want to fund a progressive e-commerce site to boycott Amazon. And
Yeah.
so I kind of got laughed out of a lot of rooms. So I decided to, do a Kickstarter campaign. And then when we started talking, and I'm open, I think this could be the start of a lot. We could have a lot of fun together. But I asked you if you would kind of help lend your support to help me raise money from the actual working class and the other small businesses community that are kind of getting left out in the cold. And that's why I'm
Well,
doing this thing.
I absolutely love the idea, and because it's so difficult to navigate life without supporting something terrible. The example that hits home to me the most is that I had a show on Fox. Now, Fox and Fox News aren't the same thing. And,
Yeah,
Fox is The Simpsons and Family Guy and Living Color. And a lot of the most subversive comedy that has ever existed has been through Fox. However, the assholes still make money off of that, and that sucks.
yeah,
So, then what do you do? And what's wonderful about the world that we're in right now is that you don't need the venture capitalists anymore. You don't need, as a performer, I don't need the networks. I reach more people now just through something like this than I ever did hosting a television show. And that's something that people don't realize. It's very difficult. We kind of have to pick our battles sometimes because you look at it and you go like, oh, I need some tools and it's late and, I'm doing this project. So, well, I can't go to Home Depot because the guy who owns that is a freaking Nazi. So where do I go? And then you'd be like, well, I guess I can go to Lowe's. They're not as bad. They're still not good, but they're not as bad.
yeah.
All the local stores are already closed because they can't afford to stay open past 5. And it's difficult that you have to make those decisions. So I love what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I'm working with a guy, and he's on my advisory board, and it's called the Goods Unite Us app,
Mhm.
where they aggregate all of the donations from all of the Fortune 500 companies, the personal donations as well as super PAC donations, and they can they're giving people grades whether or not they're progressive or they're conservative, and we've integrated that. We're not big enough yet to start working with Fortune 500 companies, but we're getting there. I mean, that's why we're growing. Is that I don't want to just sell a bunch of we're not on radio, so I don't want to sell a bunch of "fuck Trump" T-shirts all the time. We got to start selling, like laundry detergent, toilet paper, stuff that people, actually need, as opposed to just like protest gear. And in order to
I
do
do
that,
like that your examples still did revolve around dirt and assholes. So that's perfect.
there you go, nice man. So yeah, I mean the goal is that we got to get bigger, and we're working with the right people to do this. And the goal is there should be a substitute product that you don't have to worry about that you can get delivered to you. And yes, we're going to have to depend on FedEx and UPS until that changes. And these guys are still taking they're still taking federal contracts and stuff. So we can't get around everything. But the goal is that you should be able, just like Amazon, to go online and order something, and it should be affordable and it should be high quality, and you don't have to think twice about it funding MAGA extremism, keeping
Yeah.
keeping Epstein Epstein's crew alive.
By the way, Kirk, I just saw someone named Nick in the comments just asked, since some people joined late, what's the name of the company? What's the name of the site?
All right, so we're the Monaco Brewing Company, but it's called the Monaco Marketplace, and it's just because the term Monaco is now somewhat nationally known as a dude fighting in the reddest part of Wisconsin. So we kept the
Yeah.
word Monaco because it's memorable. So Monaco Marketplace, and there's a Kickstarter called. You can just type in Monaco Marketplace on Kickstarter and you'll find it. But it's kickstarter.com/projects rocket hub /Monaco. So that's where we're trying to raise money. We've raised about 55,000 bucks already, and we're trying to raise 150 kind of to keep so I
Yeah.
can expand and everything. And so
We
um
need to, by the way, we need to get you a forwarding URL. Enough of this backslash garbage. Enough of this like www.support.
Just type in
go
Monopoly
dot
Marketplace on Kickstarter, I'm sure you'll find it. But you're
Yeah.
right, man.
I
You're
remember
better
when
at
I
that
was
than I am.
in I think I was in, like, 8th grade when the internet was first starting to be a thing that people knew, and I remember how excited my friend was to show me that he found where ESPN was, because it was, like, 85 slashes deep till we found ESPN. Yeah, which then you look at that and then you go, "Fuck, that's Disney." Like, there's so many things,
Yeah,
especially with all this consolidation, and, if anything shows you why it is important, to be independent, is looking at this garbage that has come through the Epstein files and looking at just how deep this goes and how there are people that are involved in every aspect of society. These rich, elite, criminal assholes.
yeah,
And when you look at it, I was looking at it and thinking like, man, if I still had my show, would I have had to quit right now?
yeah,
Would I have had to leave? If I had a movie that was being produced by Paramount, would I have to be like, never mind?
yeah,
And you have to make that decision. And the reality is that having principles is expensive. It is a choice you have to make. I understand that, like, okay, I have to ship stuff out sometimes.
yeah,
If I sell, if I sell a signed book or something like that, I have to ship it out. And so I'll buy shipping materials in bulk. And I used to buy it from Uline
yeah.
without before I
Wisconsin
knew.
Wisconsin company, by the way,
Yeah,
and they're the worst in America. Yeah,
before I knew that they are. When I mean, I know I joked around about Home Depot before, but when you want to throw around the term Nazi, like, these are literally the owner of it is literally someone who collects Nazi memorabilia because she's a fan. Like, it's one of these things where there are people like Nick Fuentes, and then there are people that Nick Fuentes looks up to, and that's who owns Uline. And I had to make the decision where I go, "Hey, it's gonna cost me like a buck extra every time I ship anything, which is gonna add up a lot. Do I make that decision?" And I understand I'm in a privileged place where I can make that decision,
yeah,
and not everybody is. Not everybody is. Sometimes people look and they go, "Hey, either I have to support an asshole or I don't eat."
yeah.
But when you can make that decision, I love that you are giving people those options.
Well, the best thing to do, even better than, buying online is to go to your local corner store that's owned by the person in your community. I mean, that's what a true economic collective is. I mean, you're talking about let's talk about, Germany. It's like if you got the Jewish enclave, you're going to make sure you just know who your friends are automatically. It's the guy down the street, So that's the best thing. And for the folks that aren't privileged enough to be able to buy stuff and get it shipped, for more expensively to their homes, that's where you go first. This
Yeah.
is this is for the people who are, have disposable income that are already buying stuff on Amazon. Because I mean, listen, Bezos just fired. I mean, or he just Washington Post is now no longer, it's been on decline ever since he bought it, but now
Yeah.
it's not even an international media outlet anymore. Now it's just a local
And
paper.
and what a time to not have investigative journalists. What a week to not have as many reporters as we used to have. Yeah, it is something that's terrible. You kind of have to make that decision sometimes. And it is true. Like, so I lived in Pittsburgh until about a year ago. And there's a little coffee shop. I'm gonna shout them out because they're wonderful. Aspinwall Beans and Cream. And they're great, not just because their coffee's awesome and their food's wonderful, but the staff is super nice. And they also, like, I know they are good people who care about good things.
Yeah,
And I was never afraid to go there to give them a little extra money. And my wife and I ended up there probably 2, 3 times a week just because we're like, "Oh, these are the good folks. Even though this is another 10 minutes past the closest coffee shop, this is the one I'm gonna go to." And to be able to find stuff like that is very important. So, I think that what you're doing is the beginning. I
yeah,
think that what you're doing is having this online marketplace where people can buy stuff and it gets shipped to them and they know they're supporting good things is great. But eventually, I see this as something where it can be you can look up in your local area and you can find who the good
yeah.
people are.
Well, no,
Who
the next couple steps. is it's the business aspect is you got to buy a warehouse to get all this stuff in one place so that it can actually be affordable and you can ship it all, at one person. We have 90 businesses now sending one little widget to everybody, and they're buying 10 widgets at once, and they're paying 30% of the cost is shipping. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing we have to overcome. But yeah, the site now includes links to the Minocqua Brewing Company Times, which includes an essay every day by a journalist or a comedian who's hosting. There's a couple of comedians who are hosting progressive talk shows in my world who write essays every day. So you're hearing political analysis. You're checking out the site. You know what you're buying is helping pay these people to give you political analysis. The next step is to do services. I type in your zip code. Who is the carpenter who has signed the pledge? It'll never donate to MAGA extremism. You can
Yeah.
find that guy in North Carolina, not just in Wisconsin, but you just type in, and that directory is coming. And, people are building that now. It's all over the internet. It just has to be aggregated. So yeah, and it doesn't have to be. I mean, there's networks. So there's another group called the Little Blue Cart. Some would call them competitors of me. I call them helpers. We're
Yeah.
all trying to get the word out, and making it easy for people to boycott. And the nth degree is, you know, I would love for Costco to buy me, right? Costco is the only big box store left, that has the gonads to stand up to Trump. They're suing him because of the tariffs. I'm like, you guys are gods. So ultimately, I want to be their extension. It's like if Costco makes the rule that they're only going to source stuff from progressive companies, then God bless them, and I'll bow down to those guys because that's the answer. And
Yeah.
hopefully I can be their e-commerce wing.
Well, also, I live in a part of Charlotte that I think the Costco is about 20 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And there's a Sam's Club that's like 10 minutes from here. And because of what's happened this year, when we moved here, we decided, fuck Sam's Club, we're getting a Costco membership. It's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be a little further, it's going to be a little more difficult, but we are happy to do it because good for them for actually fighting back. And frankly, more people should.
They're the only one left, that I know of that in the big box store. I mean, I think I have a little bit of anxiety when it comes to crowds, so you just can't catch me in a Costco. I'll spend more money to buy stuff online. But
I just avoid people when I'm there. But anyway, speaking of people, should we take some questions? There's so many people in the chat who are writing stuff in, and
yeah,
I can't even. I'm trying to scroll through all these comments. There's so many, and Substack does a great thing where they only show half a sentence on the screen at a time. But it is here while you're looking through stuff. I'll tell a quick story.
yeah,
So we, like I said, we moved earlier. Well, I guess not this year. We moved, less than a year ago. And because of that, we're doing little things to fix up the house, and we have to get various contractors. We don't know anyone here. We just moved, and it's everything from like, fixing a leak in the sprinkler system to installing. I installed a bunch of like smart home stuff,
yeah,
and I was very excited because you go on, you look at the online reviews. If they have a unique enough name, you might be able to find them on social media and see if they've
yeah,
posted anything awful.
yeah, yeah,
But this guy that I hired for the smart home stuff is, independent guy, and he shows up, and immediately I was like, "Oh, this dude's a hippie from California. This is the best." Like immediately we're gonna bond. And like we've become friends, and he and his wife came out to one of my shows, and like
yeah,
it's just immediately I was just like, "Oh, I'm not just hiring him for this project. I'm hiring him for every project I can. I'm recommending him to other
yeah,
people." Because it's not just good service, it's a good person, and that's important to me.
yeah. Okay, somebody just said something that's really cool. And a lot of people are saying they bought stuff at the marketplace, so this is cool. I mean, it's pretty obvious our audience is you have 10x the audience I have, but the audience I have that might still there's a Venn diagram there that overlaps
Absolutely.
us.
It's a circle.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but one guy, or Nick Bell, just said, when you launch a Monaco Marketplace app, please include a barcode scanner. It would be nice to see a product you want and find a place where you can purchase it. So this is
That's
actually in the product
great.
roadmap. So once we get the Goods Unite Us app integrated, because he's got Procter Gamble Goods. If you go to Goods Unite Us right now, you can get a shopping list you can get, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is what you want to buy, and you can just see it, and you'll give you. It goes down to the brand. It doesn't go to like Procter and Gamble makes like 500 things, but then they have like 500 brands. So so I don't even know Procter and Gamble's leans left or right, but you don't really know who the company is on the brand. So they've actually gone down to the brand and showed you what to buy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or for your dog or whatever. So they've got the data. So all we have to do now, but they don't have the ability to purchase it. They just have the data. So we're going to integrate with them, and we're going to be able to put it on your phone. You can scan, the actual product in the grocery store and look it up, and compare prices. But if it's a Republican product, you can just put it away. But you're going to be able to know, if you're at the grocery store, you're going to be able to know and buy it right there. But
Yeah.
if but you'll be able to get a substitute product that we'll give you, you can buy online, if that product that you like is kind of run by a company that's bent the knee to Trump.
So, okay, so like for example, if let's say hypothetically I might be obsessed with box mac and cheese, in some world that might be a thing. So,
You're
like
obsessed you're obsessed with very sparkly shirts, is what I've seen.
I do like sparkly shirts a great deal. If I find out that Barry Wang donates to Trump, I will be very upset. I like
That's your
their stuff a
t-shirt.
lot.
That's your shirt guy.
Yeah, Barry Wang is a company that I get a lot of my shiny shirts from. But okay, so I like box mac and cheese a great deal. Our go-to is Annie's. We
Yeah.
we like we like Annie's a lot. Um, and I love the idea of, so like literally we could be in a supermarket, and first of all, we could find out and just be like, well, don't go to Publix, they're a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
Go to, I don't know how Kroger is, but Kroger owns Harris Teeter, which is like the local one here. And so, like we could be in a Harris Teeter and just pick up a box of Annie's, and then your app can either give us like a thumbs up, or it can give us like go a few boxes that way.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
I love that. And especially the more data you give it, the better, because then it could even say like you can order this online, or literally just find another thing that's in this store, which is
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah. And ultimately, the will this ever be a tool? Like, the goal is, you know, if we don't have free and fair elections in 2026, which, Steve Bannon just, got on the news yesterday saying, we're going to block all the polling places. So it's being talked about. I mean, they're laying the groundwork. There's only two other ways.
By the way, I sit here and I say I don't like throwing the word Nazi around too much, and then you bring up Steve Bannon. I'm like, how many times do I have to say it in one? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, the the only other if we don't have free and fair elections, A, there will be a civil war. But B, we should be thinking about what we can be doing now in order to make sure we have elections. And there's only two nonviolent ways to resist, that can actually change regimes, and can force them to have elections. It can force the oligarchs to find it too painful to support fascism. You find it more painful to support fascism than to support democracy, and that's taking, like making them bleed financially. So one is a general strike, which is being kind of talked about and thrown around right now. It's extremely hard to do. The other is mass boycotting. So the I'm going at it, the mass boycotting way. There's other the unions, unfortunately, a lot of the trades, have actually voted for Trump in the last election. So it's like getting them on board to do striking is hard. But boycotting is something that, is a way. And it's you can see they just got a new CEO of Target, because these guys got rid of their DEI programs, and their sales have plummeted because try getting a Minnesotan to go to Target right now, and that's where Target's from. When they got rid of DEI, and they're like letting ICE kind of stage their stuff in the parking lot. So though, but they got rid of the CEO. They got a new CEO, and so if you hurt wealthy people enough in their pocketbook, they might change who they support, and they might stop supporting the Trump regime.
Yeah.
So we're small right now, but it's got to build somewhere. It's like, you didn't, you weren't the famous ginger guy that hated that got all the hecklers good, right from the start. You started day by day by day. And so this little kernel of what we did is kind of the start of what I hope, you know, forces these rich CEOs to their knees because they have competition and they have uh, people have an alternative. It's not there yet, but you got to dream big, And I know
Yeah,
that as an entertainer, you dream big too, my friend.
but it is how it starts, and we saw it with Kimmel. We saw it with you know some a company like Sinclair. Sinclair is enormous. Sinclair owns tons of television stations,
Yeah,
and but there's always a bigger fish. And if you can hurt the bigger fish financially, then the medium-sized fish doesn't matter. Because as soon as Disney saw the public outcry and they saw people canceling their subscriptions en masse to Disney Plus and to Hulu and
mhm,
ESPN and all these other things that they have, suddenly it took 3 days for Disney to reverse their position.
yeah,
And once Disney did that, it took 3 days from Sinclair saying, hurt us all you want. There is no way we'll reverse our position to going, anything you want. We're so sorry. And
yeah,
that's what it takes. And you know what? Are we going to be able to do that in mass to everyone? No. But are we going to be able to make our voices heard? Absolutely. And even something I would argue it's not just financial, it's also public outcry
yeah,
because there's a reason that Greg Bovino doesn't have his job anymore,
yeah,
and it is because the politicians who, above all, are selfish saw it as a losing issue. And so suddenly there became pressure on look, are there actual good people in office? Yes. Do I think that the majority of them are we will vote for what keeps us in power? Yes. And so if you can get the ones who are on your side to pressure the ones who will do whatever the hell they need to do to stay in power to be on your side, you will make a difference. So I have a newborn though, so I gotta go.
Man, Steve, thank you so much for jumping on with me. I really appreciate it. I need your voice to help kind of get my voice amplified a little bit, and I really appreciate you helping today.
Well, thank you. And also, while we're here, without saying exactly what it is, let's tease what we're working on together.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna say because I didn't want to break the bubble, but uh,
I think we can tease it. I won't say exactly what it is, but Kirk and I are working on something together that fits both of our brands very, very much. And it is something that I think my fans will be very excited about. So stay tuned. It is not sparkly shirts, but thank you for the guest. And if you came here because of my Substack, please follow Minocqua Brewing Company. And one of the things I really like about Substack it is this incredibly supportive community. So many people in the comments
yeah.
were watching this and just going, "How can I participate? Where can I download the app? Where can I learn more?" And I love
Yeah.
that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, and the goal of all of this is to be able to raise enough money to keep going. I am not an e-commerce expert, and I am not a grocery store guy, and I need to hire the people that are. I have the idea, and I have like the the kind of the presence of this progressive fighter who's making products that are progressive. But that's all I got. So I need the help, and I appreciate you helping get the word out, Steve.
Well, I love it. Thanks so much for having me on, and thanks everybody for watching. And goodbye.
See ya.